So Lotus just betrayed 1,300 UK workers. While we celebrated British heritage and craftsmanship, Chinese owners Geely were planning to sacrifice Norfolk jobs for American profits. The 25k per car they're losing to Trump tariffs, that's apparently worth more than 60 years of British engineering excellence. And you know what? The government response will make you furious. Hey EV fans, it's Des here from the Electric Oracle, your financial crusader in the EV world. Now look, today's reality check isn't just about cars, it's about corporate betrayal of British workers and what this means for every UK buyer. Because what I'm about to expose will change how you see foreign ownership forever. So let me break down this corporate betrayal with the actual numbers they don't want you to see. You see, Lotus employs 1,300 workers at Hethel in Norfolk. That's roughly 1,300 families, depending on Lotus staying British. But here's where it gets disgusting. Each Lotus Emira costs an extra £25,000 because of Trump's 25% tariffs. That's 25k per car they're losing by building in Britain instead of America. So what did the Chinese owner Geely do? They paused production at Hethel in May, stopped building cars, and stopped paying workers. And they started exploring strategic options. That's corporate speak for how fast can we abandon Britain. Now here's what really exposes this manipulation. Geely owns Volvo, Polestar, I think Link & Co, and they've done this before. They buy British brands for the heritage value, then they move the production costs while keeping the British marketing. Now look, the government negotiated a trade deal reducing tariffs to something like 10% in June, and that cut Lotus's losses to about 10k per car. But apparently even 10k per car is too much for Geely to stomach to keep British workers employed. And some of it I actually understand. But look, they've already axed 470 jobs this year, 270 in November, 270 in April, and now they're threatening 1,300 of the remaining positions. And in my opinion, this isn't business necessity. This is corporate greed disguised as strategy. But look, the corporate betrayal is only half the story. The government failure is even worse. Now you probably didn't realise this, but in 2020 they gave Lotus some taxpayer money through the Advanced Propulsion Centre for Electric Vehicle Development. Look, that was our money, your money, invested in keeping Lotus British. And what exactly did we get for that investment? A Chinese company threatening to abandon Britain the moment profits get squeezed. Now, Business Secretary Jonathan Reynolds is now scrambling to offer fresh support to keep this factory open. And in my opinion, that might be too little too late. And this pattern is destroying British manufacturing. Foreign companies buy our brands, take government subsidies, and then abandon Britain when it suits them. Now, to be honest, I think we left the EU to kind of control our own destiny. Instead, we're more vulnerable than ever to corporate manipulation and foreign decisions. And guess who pays the price? British workers and British car buyers. Now, look, if you're thinking that this doesn't affect you because you're not buying a Lotus, think again. The Emira costs £102,000 in America, and if they move production to the US, what happens to the UK pricing? Because from what I can see, American labour costs are higher, shipping cars back to Britain adds expense, and currency fluctuations create price volatility. But here's the real UK buyer trap. Lotus has spent decades marketing British engineering heritage, and that's why people pay premium prices. If they build in America, are you still paying for British craftsmanship or just Chinese corporate efficiency? Also, what about resale values? Will UK built Lotus cars become classics while US built ones depreciate a lot faster? And I don't know how old you are, but we've seen this pattern before. BMW moved mini production around Europe, Ford closed Bridgend, and Vauxhall shut Luton. Every time they promise it won't affect quality of the heritage value, every time UK buyers get the short end. And current Lotus owners are already worried about parts availability and service quality if the production completely ends. And you know what? That's the reality they don't mention in all this, the glossy press releases. And you might be surprised by this, but this betrayal is not isolated. It's part of a broader pattern destroying British automotive heritage. Exports to America have halved because of Trump's tariffs, and British car manufacturers are either closing factories or they're threatening to move. And Chinese companies now own Lotus, MG, London Taxis, and they have stakes in Aston Martin. Every acquisition follows the same playbook. Promise to maintain British production, take government subsidies, and then threaten to leave them when profits drop. And don't let me forget this, Stellantis closed the Vauxhall plants, Ford shut Bridgend engine production, and Honda abandoned Swindon completely. Meanwhile, the government keeps handing out taxpayer money to these foreign companies with no guarantees they'll ever stay British. And I tell you what, if Lotus moves to America, other Chinese-owned brands will follow. Jaguar Land Rover could even be next, and then MG production. I think we're witnessing the systematic dismantling of British automotive manufacturing, and corporate profits matter more than 60 years of engineering heritage. Now, before I finish, I'm going to be real. This is a reality check. Let me be fair to Lotus. They're not completely helpless here. There are things that they can do to stay in Britain and literally just turn this thing around. So first, they need to streamline operations in Hethel, lean manufacturing automation and better supply chains. Cut the fat, not the workforce. Second, they need to diversify beyond expensive supercars, build 40k electric Lotuses, target the BMW i4 market with British engineering. And third, they need to expand beyond America. The Middle East loves British sports cars, Asia pays a premium for heritage brands, so why chase one difficult market? Oh, sorry, there's a fourth one. Fourth, work with the government properly, not just take subsidies and threaten to leave, joint development programs, EV partnerships and skills training initiatives. And five, accelerate electric vehicle development. The 2035 ICE ban is coming. Be the British Tesla of sports cars. And here's the beautiful irony that makes this even more frustrating. Did you know that the first Tesla Roadster was built on a Lotus Elise chassis right here in Britain? You see, Tesla couldn't build their own chassis in 2005, so they came to Lotus for engineering expertise. Lotus provided the lightweight aluminium chassis and Tesla added all the electric bits. But the only thing is, only 7% of the parts were actually shared. But that Lotus foundation launched the entire Tesla revolution. And again, you probably didn't realise this, but Elon Musk built his entire electric car empire on British Lotus engineering. And now Lotus is threatening to abandon Britain because electric vehicles are too challenging. Tesla's worth $1 trillion and Lotus can't figure out how to make an electric sports car profitable right here in the UK. In essence, I think they had a 20-year head start on electric vehicle credibility. They could have owned this market. And I actually think that the expertise is still there. I think the Evija hypercar proves they can build world-class electric performance right here in Britain. They just need to scale it down and up. Down to affordable sports cars and up to volume production. The British Tesla opportunity, I actually think, is still here. Now look, these aren't impossible solutions. They require investment and long-term thinking instead of quarterly profit obsession. And the made in Britain premium is worth more than tariff savings. Collectors pay extra for Hethel built cars. That's marketing value you can't get in Ohio. But look, here's the reality. Chinese shareholders want quick returns. Long-term British heritage investment, that's not their business model. And you know what? That's your reality check for today. Corporate betrayal that didn't have to happen. 60 years of British engineering excellence sacrificed because Chinese owners won't invest long-term in UK success. And I've just explained to you the solutions actually exist, the expertise is there, and the market demand, I think it's growing. But when foreign shareholders prioritise quarterly profits over British heritage and jobs, workers and buyers always lose. Hey, and do you want this sort of analysis every week? Then join my Thursday catch-up newsletter. Every Thursday, I bring in the news and I'll also expose this corporate manipulation and highlight the solutions they ignore. So let me ask you a question. What solutions do you think Lotus should pursue to stay British? Drop your ideas below. Because protecting UK manufacturing isn't just about exposing problems, It's about demanding, I think, better solutions. Look, I hope you found a nice weekend, and remember, when corporations threaten betrayal, I give you both the reality and also the alternatives. Because British engineering heritage deserves better than Chinese quarterly thinking. Now look guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been a bit of a deep one today. I hope you've enjoyed it. My name is Des from the Electric Oracle, and I'll see you in the next video.